What separates the person who almost makes it from the one who actually wins? It's not luck, it's not talent, and it's not intelligence. It's something far rarer. Discipline. In a world drowning in distractions and chasing comfort, discipline is no longer common, it's revolutionary. And if you master it, you'll become unstoppable. Everyone talks about motivation. Few ever talk about this. But behind every legend, from emperors to elite warriors, is one thing: a quiet, relentless force called discipline. So if you're tired of falling back into the same patterns, keep watching. Now let's get to the truth, the real gap between people who almost succeed and those who actually do. It's not about luck falling in the right place or being born a genius. It's discipline, not the rigid, punishing kind, but real, unshakable internal discipline. The kind that turns chaos into clarity, fear into focus, and pain into power. But here's the paradox. In today's world of quick dopamine, endless notifications, and the worship of comfort, discipline has become an act of rebellion. That's the starting point. A contrast. While most people are chained to their desires, scrolling, reacting, chasing pleasure, the disciplined person rises above. They become the master of desire. They don't let their urges dictate their direction. They delay gratification, and they walk a path others are too distracted or too afraid to take. As Machiavelli once said, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Translation: it's not your position that gives you power, it's your inner discipline that makes you worthy of power in the first place. Discipline isn't about living like a monk or denying joy. It's about stepping into your full potential. It's about becoming so focused, so grounded, so unshakably self-controlled that even when the world is burning down around you, you're still standing, calm, clear, unmoved. Now imagine this. For a moment, what if, in the next 37 minutes, you could learn exactly how to build that kind of discipline? Not a fake high, not a motivational speech, not surface-level hacks, but deep-rooted, inner discipline based on understanding how your mind, your emotions, and your behaviors actually work. That's what this video is about. We're going to walk through 6 powerful principles, each one revealing a different angle of what real discipline looks like. Not vague theories, but raw, real, and applicable truths that you can start using immediately. Some will challenge you. Some might even trigger you, but all of them will push you toward freedom. And let's be honest, you won't master discipline in one day. But if you stay with me till the end, if you really absorb this, you'll stop falling into the same traps again. Because once you understand how Machiavellian discipline works, you stop getting manipulated by the world and start bending the world to your will. Still skeptical? Here's why this matters and why you should listen. History rewards the disciplined. Marcus Aurelius wrote Meditations surrounded by the chaos of war. Napoleon built an empire while sleeping just 3 hours a night. Modern-day warriors fight private battles every day just to stay on their path. They all understood one eternal truth: he who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. Confucius' discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being stronger than your weakest excuse. It's not about always feeling ready. It's about showing up, especially when you don't want to. And it's not about being fearless. It's about taking action, in spite of fear. And the fact that you're here, watching this, that already tells me you're different. You want more. You want to break the pattern. You want your life back. And the good news, you can, but only if you stay with me. only if you're willing to go deep. I'm going to take you step by step from mindset to habits and show you how to build discipline that becomes automatic, effortless, unshakable. This isn't military rigidity. This isn't self-punishment. This is about building a Machiavellian mindset where power, patience, and control become your everyday tools. Because you weren't born to live a soft life. You were born to live a powerful one. And that journey starts now. Discipline. Let's get real before we dive deeper. Do this if you truly want to transform your life. Like this video if you're tired of feeling stuck. Comment as you watch. I want to hear your affirmations. Share this with someone who needs a mindset shift. And subscribe if you want more raw truth and life-shaping wisdom like this. And one more thing, do not skip any part of this video. Every principle builds on the one before it. If you skip even one, you risk missing the full transformation. Now, let's begin. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I choose discipline over desire. Principle number 1. Discipline begins. The moment you break your agreement with comfort, discipline doesn't start with action. It starts with the decision to break your loyalty to comfort. Most people think they lack discipline because they're lazy. But laziness isn't the root cause. It's just a symptom. The real reason, you're still in a toxic relationship with your comfort zone. You still believe that rest equals happiness. You still think that avoiding stress is a form of self-love. But Machiavelli saw through the illusion. The wise man does at once what the fool does eventually. Discipline is the art of doing what's necessary before it becomes urgent. Why do you keep procrastinating? Not because you're weak, but because your brain has been trained to believe that discomfort equals danger. So every time you try to work out, wake up early, or start something difficult, your brain resists. Because it's addicted to short-term pleasure and the illusion of safety. So, what's the solution? You must create a new internal contract. Every time you feel discomfort, tell yourself, this is my new home. I grow here. Growth doesn't happen in ease. It happens in friction. Every muscle, every skill, every dream. You earn it when you walk through resistance. Here's a truth no one tells you. Comfort is seductive, but it quietly kills your potential. You won't notice it until years have slipped away. Machiavelli wasn't soft. He believed in reality, not fantasy. If you want to build real discipline, you must abandon the illusion that growth will feel good. Because it won't. It will feel like war. But it's through those battles that you earn self-respect. And when you respect yourself, the world starts respecting you too. Here's how you start. Wake up when you say you will. No snooze button. No delay. Do something difficult every day. Something that pushes your limits. Cut off one comfort behavior this week, whether it's doom scrolling, junk food, or emotional venting. Every time you choose discomfort on purpose, you are training your identity. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of moods and start becoming a master of will. Remember what Abraham Lincoln once said, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. You want control, you have to fight for it. You want freedom, first break the chains of comfort. And when you do, something inside you begins to shift. You stop feeling lost. You stop chasing dopamine, and you start building something solid, discipline. And from that, you become dangerous in the best possible way. Now drop this second affirmation in the comments. I choose growth. Machiavelli once wrote, The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. That's not just strategy, it's timing. It's about knowing when to act and when to wait. Because discipline isn't just about doing the hard thing now. It's about having the emotional patience to keep going when the reward feels miles away. Ask yourself, truly and honestly, can you keep building when no one is watching? Can you keep training when there's no applause? Can you keep planting seeds, knowing you won't harvest them for months, maybe years? That right there is the kind of discipline that separates the powerful from the powerless. Let me explain this with a deep emotional truth. A child cries when they don't get what they want right away, but an adult suffers. In silence, they build in the shadows, and they let time prove them right. That's what we call delayed victory, and it is discipline in its purest, most spiritual form. When you chase instant results, you become fragile. At the first sign of failure, you crumble. But when you train yourself to delay victory, your will becomes like steel. You stop needing the world's validation because every quiet effort is a round of applause for yourself. Machiavelli knew that power wasn't just about grabbing opportunities, but also about waiting patiently for the right moment. The wise man moves slowly, not because he's slow, but because he understands the world moves fast. There's a quiet strength in not rushing. But here's the problem. Your mind, it's been trained by algorithms. Swipe, click, scroll, like buy. Everything in your life happens fast. So when life moves slow, you panic. That's why you give up so easily. You expect to launch a business and get rich in a month. You expect to get in shape in 2 weeks. You expect confidence from reading one book. But here's the cold truth. Real transformation moves like a glacier, not a spark. It takes months of invisible effort. It takes hundreds of tiny wins that nobody claps for, but those wins are what builds your inner architecture. They build your real power. So let me ask you this. Would you rather have fast success that fades, or slow success that lasts forever? The fast one is built on hype. The slow one is built on discipline. So, how do you train your mind to delay victory? 1. Set long timelines. Stop asking, how can I win in 30 days? Start asking, who can I become in 3 years? This one shift changes your entire mindset. It gives your brain the space to grow without pressure. 2. Fall in love with the process. Discipline is not about crossing the finish line. It's about learning to love the climb. When you begin to value effort more than outcome, you become unbreakable. 3. Track effort, not results. Don't measure your success by what you get. Measure it by how consistently you show up. Did you show up today? That's a win. Stack those wins. 4. Stay off the scoreboard. Stop comparing. Stop checking who's ahead. Stay in your lane. Run your race. Let your consistency speak for itself. Because here's the Machiavellian truth. Everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you truly are. You don't need the world to see you winning right now. You just need to become the kind of person that victory eventually bows to. And that only happens when you delay it. Now, let me speak to you directly. There was a time, maybe not long ago, when you gave up too soon. Maybe it was a goal, a dream, a version of yourself you began to pursue. But when the results didn't show up fast enough, you backed away. Now you carry that regret in silence, but that ends here. This moment right now is where you say, I don't need it now. I just need to know it's coming. That belief, that quiet, stubborn belief is your power. Discipline doesn't yell. It doesn't scream. It whispers, I'll wait, I'll build, I'll rise. So go ahead, type it in the comments below. I build with patience. Most people don't lack intelligence, they lack emotional discipline. Niccolo Machiavelli believed that power doesn't come from perfect circumstances. It comes from mastering yourself, especially under pressure. He once said, the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. In other words, watch how people react when things fall apart. Look at their behavior when they're under pressure. That's when true intelligence is revealed. And that's when emotional discipline either shows itself or shatters completely. Most people are emotional slaves. They don't act, they react. They're calm until they feel insulted. They're focused until someone discourages them. They're disciplined until life gets difficult. Here's the harsh truth. If you don't control your emotions, someone else will, and they will use your emotions to manipulate you, distract you, or even destroy you. Your anger can be turned against you. Your jealousy can be triggered. Your fear can be weaponized. That's why Machiavellian discipline isn't just built through habits and routines. It's forged through emotional neutrality. The one who stays calm under pressure is the one others fear most. When others panic, they plan. When others react, they respond. When others break down, they calculate their next move. Let me tell you a quick story. A general once said, I never let my enemies see me sweat. If they know I'm shaken, I've already lost half the war. The same applies in life. You argue with someone, they win if they pull you into their chaos. You get emotionally triggered, they win by taking your control. You spiral into self-doubt, life wins by making you forget your inner power. So what's the solution? You must train emotional control like a muscle every single day. 1. Pause before you react. It sounds simple, but that 1 second pause can change everything. That moment of stillness gives you back control. It allows your higher mind to lead, not your fear, not your anger, not your pain. Discipline lives in that pause. 2. Name the emotion. The moment you say, this is anger, or this is fear, you create distance between you and that emotion. You are not your emotions. You are the observer of them. Naming them takes away their power. 3. Channel emotions into action. Don't suppress your emotions, transform them. Use pain to fuel your workouts. Use anger to sharpen your discipline. Use fear to drive your preparation. That's the Machiavellian way. You don't run from the fire. You become the fire. 4. Protect your emotional energy. Not everyone deserves your reaction. Not everything deserves your attention. Emotional discipline means learning to ignore what doesn't help you grow. Silence is power. Distance is protection. Let fools fight with emotions. You move forward with clarity and purpose. Now, let's get honest. Have you ever made a decision you later regretted because you were angry? Said something you wished you could take back? Quit something too soon because of fear or doubt? Of course you have. We all have. But starting today, that changes. Now, you understand that emotional control is the root of all discipline, because once your emotions stop leading you, your vision starts guiding you. You become calmer, sharper, more respected, more feared, and most importantly, harder to manipulate. Machiavelli once warned, the people closest to you can become your greatest threat. if you allow emotion to cloud your judgment. So don't let your guard down. Stay sharp. Let me leave you with a powerful line to live by. Strong emotions are like storms. They pass. But the tree that bends with the wind survives every time. Be that tree, feel the emotions, but stay rooted in logic, values, and purpose. That's what makes you dangerous in the best way. Type this affirmation in the comments. I control my emotions. In today's world, where distractions come disguised as opportunities and constant busyness is worn like a badge of honor, discipline becomes the art of refusal. Niccolo Machiavelli warned us about this very trap. A prince is respected when he is either a true friend or a downright enemy. In other words, clarity earns respect. Being vague, overly agreeable, or indecisive only opens the door to chaos. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people today are overcommitted and under-disciplined. They say yes to everything and then wonder why they're exhausted, overwhelmed, and lost. They agree to things that drain them. They accept invitations out of guilt. They take on tasks they don't even believe in just to avoid saying no. But every time you say yes to something meaningless, you are, without realizing it, saying no to your own growth. Let that sink in. Every time you agree to something out of obligation or fear, you're handing away your most valuable resource, your time. And time is the ultimate currency of discipline. So what's the solution? You must learn the discipline of boundaries. And not the soft kind, not the maybe later, not the I'll think about it, but the kind that is firm, unapologetic, and powerful. A clear no. Why is this so hard for most people? Because we've been trained since childhood to be liked, not respected. We've been conditioned to associate saying no with guilt. We fear rejection. We fear being misunderstood. We fear disappointing others. But ask yourself, what hurts more? A moment of temporary discomfort or a lifetime of quiet resentment? Machiavelli didn't rise to power by trying to make everyone happy. He rose by controlling access, time, and emotional investment. A disciplined man or woman guards their energy like a king guards his castle. You don't leave the gates open for every stranger who walks by. You protect what's valuable. Let's get practical. Here are 4 areas where you must start saying no. Starting today. 1. Say no to draining people. You already know who they are. The ones who bring drama instead of solutions. The ones who never grow but always complain. The ones who take and take and take, but offer nothing in return. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your life. Cut them off, or at the very least, create distance. Your peace is your responsibility. 2. Say no to shallow pleasures, mindless scrolling, cheap dopamine, entertainment. That leaves you empty. These are comfort traps. The illusion of pleasure, followed by guilt and wasted time. Discipline means delaying pleasure, choosing deep fulfillment over instant stimulation. Say no to anything that pulls you away from the person you're trying to become. 3. Say no to overcommitting. You're not a machine. You don't need to say yes to every invitation, every favor, every request for help. You don't need to reply instantly. You don't need to be everything for everyone. When you respect your time, others begin to respect it too. Your calendar should reflect your priorities, not your guilt point. 4. Say no to old versions of yourself. This one hits deep. Stop saying yes to habits, behaviors, and people who belong to the version of you that you're trying to outgrow. Every time you go back to who you used to be, You delay who you're trying to become. It's time to burn that bridge. Discipline isn't just about what you start doing. It's also about what you stop being. Let's do a quick reality check. Have you ever said yes to a plan, then instantly regretted it? Agreed to help someone, then felt emotionally drained and resentful? Spent hours on something meaningless, then wondered why your goals still feel so far away? If yes, it's because you haven't learned how to protect your yes with the power of no. Discipline isn't about doing more, it's about doing less with more intention. Powerful people don't try to do everything. They focus only on what matters and ruthlessly eliminate the rest. So here's your mindset shift. Start thinking like a ruler. Your time is your army. Don't send your troops into battles that don't matter. Don't waste them on people who drain you, tasks that numb you, or habits that shrink you. Type this affirmation in the comments. I protect my power by saying no. As Machiavelli once said, it is much safer to be feared than loved, if one must lack one of the two. In your case, it's not about fear, it's about respect, especially self-respect. When you say no with confidence, people might push back. They may call you cold, selfish, or distant. But in time, what they'll remember is not your compliance, but your clarity. And more importantly, you'll respect yourself. Because the discipline of saying no is not about rejection. It's about making space to say yes to your real power. You don't need to please everyone. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to do everything. You just need to protect what matters most. That's how empires are built. That's how warriors are made. That's how discipline becomes who you are, not just what you do. Drop this in the comments. I protect my time. I say no with power. Number 5. Discipline means you move without motivation. Here's a tough truth. If you're still waiting to feel like it, you've already lost. That's the trap most people fall into. They only act when they're inspired, when the vibe feels right, when the stars align, when their emotions give them permission. But life doesn't wait for your mood to catch up. Motivation is weak. Discipline is divine. Machiavelli never trusted emotion. He trusted action. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Don't wait to feel important. Do important things whether you feel like it or not. Because, here's reality, the world doesn't reward your feelings. It rewards your consistency. Let me draw a sharp emotional contrast. A man who waits for motivation, he becomes a slave to his moods. But a man who moves regardless of motivation, he becomes unstoppable because nothing controls him anymore. And that's why discipline is rare. Everyone says they want change, but most people can't move without applause, excitement, or dopamine. They want it to feel good. They want it to feel easy. And the second it gets boring, hard, or inconvenient, they stop. But you can't build greatness on vibes. You build it on commitment. Here's the Machiavellian truth. If your habits, your purpose, or your mission depends on your feelings, you will always be unreliable, both to yourself and to everyone else who depends on you. Let's break it down. Motivation says, I feel good today, so I'll go to the gym. Discipline says, I don't care how I feel, I'm going. Motivation says, I'm inspired to work on my goals tonight. Discipline says, inspired or not, I made a promise, and I follow through. Machiavelli believed in predictable power. He wanted rulers who endured, who showed up, who didn't bend with emotional winds. Because the disciplined man, he is more dangerous than the motivated man. Why? because he doesn't wait. So how do you build this level of discipline without needing motivation? It's not about forcing yourself to suffer. It's about designing a system that makes action automatic. Let's get practical. Here are 4 powerful ways to train this mindset. 1. Tie your actions to your identity. Stop saying, "I want to write." Start saying, "I'm a writer." Don't say, "I should work out." Say, "I'm the kind of person who trains daily." When you act from identity, not emotion, discipline becomes your default. 2. Create rituals, not routines. Routines are mechanical. Rituals are sacred. Turn your daily disciplines into something meaningful. Let your morning workout become your temple of strength. Let your reading become a conversation with greatness. Let your nightly planning be a silent war council with your future. When your actions have soul, you don't need motivation. You move with purpose. 3. Make the decision once. Most people fail because they ask themselves the same questions every day. Should I go today? Should I eat clean today? Should I keep going? Discipline says, "I've already decided. I just follow through." Machiavelli wrote, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. But not for you. You keep your word, especially to yourself. 4. Reward execution, not emotion. At the end of the day, don't ask, "Did I feel inspired?" Ask, "Did I show up?" Let your consistency become your confidence. Let your past disciplines speak for your future success. Because what happens when you... When you live with that mindset, you stop waiting and start moving. You no longer bargain with your excuses. You lead yourself. You don't just react. You act with purpose. People will start to ask, "How are you so consistent? How do you do so much with so little? How are you rising while they're still stuck thinking?" The answer is simple but powerful. You act regardless of emotion. That's Machiavellian power. You're no longer chasing feelings. You're commanding your future. And at that moment, you become dangerous in the best way. Because now, nothing can stop you. Let me tell you something real. There will be days when you're completely exhausted. Days when your heart feels shattered. Days when your mind is loud with doubt. But you'll still show up because discipline isn't a mood. It's a message. A declaration you whisper to yourself daily. No matter what happens around me, I stay loyal to who I'm becoming. That kind of quiet loyalty, that steady, relentless motion, that's how kings are made. Drop this in the comments. I don't wait to feel ready. I move with discipline. Number 6. Your pain is your training. Ground you've been lied to about pain. They told you pain means something is wrong. They taught you to avoid it, numb it, run from it. But Machiavelli, he knew better. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. And pain, especially emotional, mental or spiritual pain, is not your enemy. It's your call to rise. It's your personal crucible. It's the fire that can either burn you down or forge you into steel. Pain is not punishment. It's preparation. Every disciplined person you admire, every warrior, leader, or icon wasn't built through ease. They became strong because they endured what others ran away from. Here's the brutal truth. Most people want change without pressure, growth without discomfort, transformation without chaos. But that's not how discipline is born. Discipline is forged in suffering. In the moments you refuse to let pain break you, think about it. That heartbreak, betrayal, or loss, it wasn't just a wound. It was a weapon forged just for you. That failure, that humiliation, it wasn't the end. It was training, sharpening your edge, that anxiety, that doubt, that silent, soul-crushing night. It was life whispering to you, if you make it through this, you will never be the same again. Machiavelli understood the bond between power and pain. In his philosophy, no pain was ever wasted. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. But before you can command others, you must first command yourself in chaos. That means standing tall when everything is falling apart, showing up even when your heart is broken, saying, I'm still here, even when all you want to do is disappear. So how does pain build discipline? Here are 4 truths. 1. Pain exposes weaknesses. You don't know your limits in comfort. But pain, it shows you exactly where you break. And more importantly, where to rebuild stronger. Every time life punches you, you learn to fight back smarter and harder. 2. Pain destroys illusion. Suffering rips away the lies. You stop chasing empty praise. You stop caring about shallow opinions. You stop wasting time on meaningless distractions. Pain gives you clarity, and clarity builds discipline. 3. Pain builds emotional endurance. Each time you go through pain without quitting, you raise your threshold. What used to break you, now it doesn't even shake you. People look at you and wonder, how are you still standing? And you just smile, because they'll never understand what you've survived for. Pain lights a fire inside you. There's a quiet rage that comes from being broken but not destroyed. And when you channel that fire into purpose, you become a force of nature. You wake up earlier. You train harder. You focus like someone with something to prove, because deep down, you do. Here's the truth. The most dangerous person in any room isn't the one who's never been hurt. It's the one who's been shattered, but refused to stay broken. It's the man who turned his scars into wisdom, the woman who turned her tears into fire, the one who transformed pain into power and never looked back. So if you're feeling exhausted, heart heavy, or like no one sees what you carry, don't think you're weak. You're being refined. And this version of you, the one being forged in silence, stress, and solitude, that's the version that will one day walk into a room and silence it. Not with noise, but with presence. Not with titles, but with depth. You're not soft. You're not broken. You're becoming bulletproof. Right now, maybe you're living through a quiet depression. Maybe it's the loneliness that creeps in at night, or the heavy weight of responsibility that nobody else sees. But this is your gym. This is your battlefield. This is your Machiavellian furnace. And if you keep showing up, even when it hurts, even when no one claps, even when your mind screams for comfort, you'll walk out of this chapter unshakable. Machiavelli said, "It is better to act and repent than not to act and regret." Don't waste your pain. Don't numb it. Don't run from it. Use it. Turn your pain into fuel. Turn your sadness into strength. Turn your suffering into a sword. Drop this in the comments right now. My pain is my power. My suffering sharpens my discipline. Now take a breath, because what you've just experienced in this video isn't just information, it's transformation. You've walked through 6 brutally honest, deeply emotional, and ruthlessly strategic truths, each one pushing you closer to a version of yourself that few people ever meet, that disciplined you. This wasn't motivation, this was a mirror, and what you saw, that's who you're capable of becoming. But let's be clear, discipline isn't about morning routines, planners, or productivity hacks. It's not just what you do, it's who you are when no one's watching. You've learned that discipline means building structure when your mind wants chaos, saying no to the world so you can say yes to yourself, taking action without waiting to feel ready, owning your time like a king owns his kingdom, turning pain into strength and showing up no matter what. Machiavelli never believed in weakness disguised as kindness. He believed in power that comes from awareness, self-command, and ruthless clarity. And now, so do you. But this isn't the end. This video, this message, these 37 minutes, they're just the spark. Now it's on you to turn that spark into a fire, because the world you live in, it's loud, chaotic, and distracting, and it will try every single day to pull you back into weakness. But if you stay committed, if you hold the line when it's uncomfortable, if you choose discipline when everyone else chooses comfort, you will become something rare, someone powerful without needing to prove it, someone respected without needing to speak, someone unstoppable, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. Discipline isn't the goal. It's the foundation of every goal. It's the spine behind character, success, and self-respect. And now it belongs to you. So before you leave, make a commitment to yourself. Drop this in the comments so I know you're not just watching. You're becoming. I live by discipline. I rise. I command, I endure. And if this video woke something up in you, if it gave you a truth no one else had the courage to say, if it made you feel seen, stronger, or clearer, then do 3 things. Like this video, comment your affirmations, and share it with someone who needs it, because the world doesn't need more people chasing comfort. It needs warriors. It needs leaders, builders, thinkers. It needs you, disciplined, awake, and ready. Thank you for watching. Now go, live it, and never again let your feelings dictate your fate. You're not here to feel good. You're here to become great.